What's going on, people? It's your man, the YB, back once again. So, we got another update. This is messy, folks. On the Ben, Whittaker, and some cat in the comments. Unlike most of these bar capping dudes, I'm going to give cats in the comments the credit here. Yeah? His new name is 10 Whittaker. Sorry, 10 Whittaker. Listen here, 10 Whittaker. That's nuts, man. The comments be doing too much. You best believe it. So, the update in the 10 Whittaker versus Liam Cameron fight. Where were we a few days ago? A few days ago, you had Ben Shalong on the blower to Talk Sport saying, yeah, well, I've got a signed contract, and Frank's agreed to it being 10 rounds. Frank says, what are you talking about? We ain't got nothing. Yeah? Since then, there's been an update. The board have spoke. And Frank Warren's come out again, replying to the claims made by Ben that it's all been signed and Frank Warren's just drumming up publicity, which didn't make no sense to me that Frank Warren's going to do that. Oh yeah, Frank Warren's, it's all sorted out. This problem about 10 versus 12 rounds is all sorted out and Frank's just trying to drum something up. Crazy, man. Anyway, here's the bars.
Spencer and Top Boxing. They had Robert Smith of the British Boxing Board of Control, who seemed to suggest the issue was still up in the air between the promoters.
Whoever put the contract together has made a ricket. It's quite simple as that. And that's for them to sort out. And I had a discussion this morning on my way here with regard to our actions, what we would do. I don't think we need to do anything at the present time unless it's the last minute, because this is a contractual issue. Yeah. And therefore they should sort it out. I'm sure they will.
So, Frank, now your fighter, Liam Cameron, says on social media, Boxer have my terms to change the fight to 10 rounds, but they're refusing to send me a contract to vary the deal and are trying to suggest they can change the rounds without a contract. Going into a fight week, not knowing many rounds I'm fighting, is a joke. And I sympathise with Cameron when I read that. Where are we at with this, Frank? I know you can put it into some kind of perspective for us.
Well, it's the most ridiculous situation, and Liam's absolutely right. He signed for, as did Boxer, for a 12-round fight. They've had this has been going on since mid-February. All this nonsense that's going on. It's unprofessional.
Now, I'll stop it there for a second. So, I'm not sure. You really have to listen to the whole thing. This is 12 minutes long. I'm not going to guarantee I'm going to sit here and listen to it all again. What's important to note is that cat, Robert Smith, the board guy, he says, oh, yeah, we'll give it some more time and we might have to sort it out. Frank Warren adamantly says it's a contractual dispute. The board can't really enforce one way or another. So that's going to be interesting. Because someone's going to be butthurt, right? Either, let's say the board said, listen guys, it's 2 days before the fight. We're doing a 10-rounder. Cameron's like, what? I haven't got paid no compensation. And my chances of winning the fight have been reduced, arguably. Equally, if he says, okay, we're doing a 12-rounder. If the board step in and say we're doing a 12-rounder, Ben Whittaker's got a contract for a 10-rounder. So there's nothing the board can do, bottom line. That tends to make sense to me. I don't know, but Frank Warren knows what he's doing, man. And it doesn't make no sense no other way. If the board could just step in and change contracts, doesn't seem likely to me. Anyway, that's my 2 pennies on it. Let's carry on.
It's a lack of respect to Liam. It's also a lack of respect to Ben, because he's negotiated his side for a 10-round fight. So, I've never known anything like this in my time in boxing. And initially, when they started all this, they tried to cut Queensberry out of dealing direct with our fighter. They went to the manager and tried to withhold information from us. So they don't act professionally whatsoever. And as Lindy just said, Boxer claims it can amend contracts without Liam or Queensberry's consent, and they've even threatened to legal action and repeatedly repudiate the contract. We have, or Liam has, and we have a signed contract, and that's the end of it. That is it.
And it's a signed contract for 12.
The only way you can deviate from that contract, that 12-round contract, is to agree terms with Liam. If he wants to. Me, I wouldn't move because it suits Liam to have 12 rounds. I would much rather forsake the extra money and do the 12 rounds because I think he's more of a 12-round fighter. And I don't know whether Ben is or not, but we'll find out if it happens. But that's where we are. And, it's really simple. It's 12 rounds as the contract stipulates, amend the rounds and do a deal to 10 rounds, or we're in a legal situation and a fight won't happen.
So, Cameron's wanting a certain amount of money to go to 10 rounds.
No, it's interesting. There's a lot of talk about, essentially, Ben's made an error. Yeah? There's a deviation in the contract. One guy's got 10, one guy's got 12. But this can be easily fixed. Bearing in mind, Frank Warren and Liam Cameron are not obliged legally or otherwise, to do Ben Shalom any favours. In the same breath, though, Ben Whittaker could just step up and say, Ben, you've paid me some good money. I don't know their relationship. Let's assume their relationship's been good. Ben Shalom, my name's Whittaker. You know, you've been good to me. You've been good to me. You're my promoter. There's no point going back and forth. I'll just do 12. He could do that. Or, you know what I mean? Or for a little piece of bread. However, Liam Cameron's probably asking for more bread than Ben Whittaker would. But notice, Ben Whittaker ain't come out. Whittaker ain't come out and said nothing. He don't want 12. If you thought you were going to smoke someone in 7 rounds, or if you thought you were going to smoke someone in 10 rounds, you'd think, well, what's another 2? Yeah? Because by the time we get to round 10, this plumber is going to be so finished, he'll be begging for it 100%. By the time I finish with this dude, Liam Cameron, he's going to be tapping out in round 9. He'll be the one making contractual 100%. He'll be making contractual amendments in the 9th. He'll be saying, hey coach, let's do a 10 rounder. He'll be begging me for a 10 rounder by the time we've done 9. By the time we've done 9, he'll be begging for it not to be a 12 rounder. That's what Ben Whittaker could say. His radio's silent. Yeah, he's redlining at 10 rounds. This guy's done 10 rounds, I believe, a few times, or at least once. Whittaker has. So, doing 12, and you're supposed to be the second coming of Mohammed Prince Nassim Floyd Mayweather. Cameron's British level. Yeah, he's British level. That's for sure. You can't even do a proper fight with a British level dude. So the silence from... You can sit here and say, well, it's not Whittaker's fault. It's not necessarily his fault. Well, then again, these men should be doing 12 anyway. Seriously. They should be doing 12 anyway. What is this? Kiddlywinks. Seriously. You should be doing 12 anyway. If you're going to go... People, if you're going to go anywhere in this sport, you've got to be able to do 12. And if you're going to go anywhere in this sport and you can't do 12 against Liam Cameron, where are you going? Seriously, where do you think you're going? Lyndon Arthur versus Cameron was a tough fight, close fight. Yard blew Lyndon Arthur's back out. Lyndon Arthur's solid British level. Cameron, solid British level. That's your level, man. And you're sitting here quibbling around here or around there. It's just not a good look. Whittaker could have been bailed out his moody promoter. Yeah? If you were confident. If you're confident about winning, you say, oh, what's all the bickering for? Let's do 12, no problem. If any, or even 10 Whittaker could be saying, I want 12. I'm the Olympic athleteness. I'm bone dry lean. I got cardio for days. I got speed for days. Let's do 15. Never mind you 12. I'll do 15 right now with you. Me and you right now, 15. And that's what Liam Cameron said in the face-off the other day, that he said, I'll do 15 with you. You can forget about the 10 and the 12. Let's do 15. Why hasn't Ben got that same energy? We don't know.
Yeah, well, why wouldn't he?
How much is he wanting, Frank?
What has he got to give up the advantage for?
Right. And is he asking for a lot?
I hope so.
Are you asking for a lot on his behalf?
Yeah, we're asking for money from him. Of course we are.
So where's
look, this is a guy who's come from a really, really troubled background and a lot of problems in his life. And his last fight, he resurrected himself and looked good in that fight. And it ended controversy, as we all know. He's now agreed to a rematch because really, I mean, I said to him, let's go in a different direction. You know, they need you. You don't need them. I mean, the consensus was he was doing well in the fight, but he wanted to go to the fight, go to the rematch.
Right.
Terms were agreed, and that's where we are. And you know, Liam had to sign a contract acknowledging the terms of the bout versus Whittaker. And there was a third attachment to that. You had to make the contracts enforceable. Now boxers claim it can vary those material terms without any reference to Liam, which is a complete and utter ridiculous.
And now the fight, Frank, is days away, Simon.
I don't think that's what they think, Frank. I think the conversation...
What it says?
Well, let me I mean, obviously you might have listened to last Thursday because...
Oh, listen to this guy. Oh, I don't think that's what they think. That's exactly what they think. Cameron, Liam, Simon Jordan, Sheldon... I don't think that's exactly what he's saying. Ben Shalom is lying all over the place. Oh, they've got a signed contract. It's all been sorted out, and he's just gassing. That's a lie. Yeah. Oh, no, they're not trying to just change the thing and not consult you. What are you talking about? Exactly what he's trying to do. Yeah? If Ben Shalom could just make it a 10-rounder by clicking his finger, he'd do that. Damn, he'd probably make it a 6th round if he had a choice. Yeah? But who here thinks Ben Shalom wouldn't have sent a 6th round contract if Liam Cameron would have signed it? Stop playing. They'd have made it a 6th round if they could have. Stop lying. I don't like these industry man just chilling their base. Ah, well, that's not what he wants. Ben Shalom's taking the piss. He messed up, and it's on him. You pay for it, or you best do some begging to Whittaker and tell him to get his car deal up.
Because I put it on Ben Shalom and said, Ben, it's a bit ridiculous to send a contract. If you wanted a 10-round fight, you should have put a 10-round contract in place and then argued there and afterwards. And there and afterwards, if you've signed for a 12-round fight, you've dropped a ricket, you're now making a bit of a tit of yourself in your fighter by making it such a big deal about 12 rounds and bringing all the questions about Whittaker's stamina into it. And he immediately said, I've made a mistake, I've dropped the ball. Where I am with Queensberry now is I've agreed a deal with Queensberry, which involves financial compensation for Liam. And what Queensberry are doing now is just kind of mugging me off in the press because I've made a mistake. Have you not agreed a deal? Or because I think Ben's accepted, I clearly can't not accept it. I've seen the provision of services agreement. I understand the dynamics of it. I understand the reality of what you guys may or may not have entered into. But he signed, you guys agreed a contract. It's very clear, it's very evident. He's got to pay to get out of it. Have you not agreed the financial difference between 10 and 12?
No. No, otherwise something would be signed, and that's not happened. And I've got to tell you something, Ben Whittaker should be suffering from this. His team did the right thing by him and negotiated and signed a 10-round contract. He's getting a lot of stick, which I feel is unfair. As well, as is Liam's getting stick. The fault lies with boxers. They just hold their hands up, get on with it, and stop all this nonsense.
Liam shouldn't be taking any stick. Liam, as the fight is on, Liam is probably the victim of the outcome on the first fight in terms of where the fight was potentially going. If he signed for a 12-fight contract, it's indelible. When I was speaking to Robert Smith yesterday, I was saying, what jurisdiction do you have? If the fight's been signed and agreed, do you have any jurisdiction to force this event into being to actually manifesting itself?
He can't do that at all.
No, that's what he said. Yeah,
he can't do that. He can't. Look, Liam said, no problem, I'll come down. It is a problem, I will come down and do it. But if I'm coming down and I'm giving up the advantage of a 12-rounder, I want to be adequately compensated. Because he's the guy, at the end of the day, if he gets beat in this fight, I don't think he does, but if he gets beat, he's got a big, that's where his career is basically, is a struggle to come back.
Without trying to be over facetious, I mean, a lot of this might stem from the original conversations, and you're going to disagree with this, I'm sure, where Liam Cameron, I believe, agreed a deal in principle with Boxer about a certain amount of finances, which he then took to you. You then raised the bar, and then he ended up signing with you to represent him. Is this now an opportunity, because Boxer dropped the ball, made a mistake, that potentially the difference between what you want for him to be paid for the 2 rounds discrepancy is more problematic and a slight opportunity that you're taking rather than actually making the fight happen?
Not at all. His manager, Lee Eaton, is an employee of Queensberry. He works with Queensberry. So he is his manager. He came.
And just quickly, I found that, and I think in the States, they have the Muhammad Ali Act, and you can't have promoters and managers from. No, it can't be the same person. I'm not sure if it's allowed to be the same organisation, but that is a bit. I mean, it works when it's working for you. Yeah, we just found out there that Liam Cameron is managed by an employee of Queensberry, and it's not normally problematic in 90% of cases. Now look at Joe Joyce's career. Now I don't know who Adam Morley's employed by, but come on, man, he got played. Joe Joyce got stifled by Frank. Yeah. So these company men, listen, if you're an employee of Queensberry, you're going to do what's best for Queensberry. End of the day, I'm not sure how you can how an employee of Queensberry can hold Liam Cameron's best wishes are. It's going to be what Frank wants, which is a bit. That's why they made the Muhammad Ali Act. Promoters, almost by definition, their interests aren't necessarily aligned with the fighters. They want to look at Joe Joyce, for example, man. Come on, look at Joe Joyce. He did all the hard work and just got splattered for it, essentially, whilst Dubois was making millions fighting Trevor Bumman for the WBA regular belt. That's what he got. Yeah.
Came to me and he asked me to, after that, when we agreed a deal, he was going to be promoted by us, and that's where we are. And I started this off by saying that they were trying to do a deal behind our back with him. And that's what happened. But,
so the way I see it, Frank, is am I going to be tuning in for Cameron Whittaker? Seconds out round 1, and we get to the end of round 10, and then we either hear seconds out round 11 or it's over?
Not at all, because the start of any fight, the announcer, the MC announced the duration of the fight, so don't waste your time.
What do you think is going to happen, Frank?
Yeah, but your man still doesn't know what he's preparing for.
Do you know what? If this was me, I'd pay it. I'd wipe my mouth.
Now, Jim Jordan, or whatever his name is, whatever the other cat's name says, oh, we're going to be confused about the rounds. The good news is here, from Liam's point of view, it doesn't really make a difference to him. When you're mentally prepared for a 12-rounder, doing 10 to some extent is probably about. It doesn't get massively worse for you. Now, if you're psychologically ready for a 10-rounder and you've been shitting your pants like 10 Whittaker has about doing 12, and it ends up being 12, I don't think Whittaker will get in there. I think he's most likely. I think if push comes to shove, Cameron will probably get in the ring and then sue Shalong afterwards. That'd be my advice to him. There's no point not fighting because you can hit a double lick. You want to get paid for this fight. Get paid for this fight, and then I'm not sure. I'm not a lawyer. They'd have to work it out. But you don't really want to sit out. These legal things take with appeals and that. Look at civil cases. They can take 2 years to be adjudicated, and then you got another 2 years of appeals process before you get any bread. So you're looking at 4 years. I guess it comes down to really how confident Cameron is of winning this fight, and or how much they think they can get in a court of law. If you can get $1 million in a court of law, I'll sit down he wouldn't have to sit down. He'll be able to fight probably. I'm not sure how it works. A lot of these contracts, they kind of tie you up. I don't know. Look at, there's been loads of fighters. Andre Ward, not exactly same circumstances, but sometimes these promoters put clauses in the contract, something along the lines of, oh, by the way, we're not, what do they call it? They have options on fighters. I don't know. Essentially, if you don't fulfill the contract, then you can't, or if you engage in legal disputes with us, it messes your career up. Loads of fighters have had their careers on hold / can't fight whilst legal things go on, which doesn't make sense to you, right? Why couldn't I fight? It's a bit like when, I don't know who is it, when Zhang beat Joe Joyce and then Frank Warren had options on Zhang. So in this scenario, is it possible if Cameron don't fight Whittaker, somehow there's some option there which stops him from cucks him whilst the legal dispute goes on, whilst Liam Cameron might be in the right and it might all come out in the wash that he's right. In the meantime, will he still be able to fight again? I don't know. I haven't got the contract in front of me. / I'm just completely speculating.
They keep saying it's an accident, but Lee said that this was always going to be a 12-rounder. It's for the IBF Intercontinental titles, and that's what the contract says: 12 rounds, IBF Intercontinental title.
So if he doesn't get paid.
Now, I've heard Frank Warren, mention it. I thought this was quite an important point. Frank Warren mentions it's a 12-rounder for an Intercontinental IBF title fight. And he said that in this interview. He also said it on Box Nation. The relevance of that is this. It implies that there's a standard. Like, for example, we know championship fights are 12 rounds. So Frank Warren's implying there, and I've got some research to show you, he's implying there that, it's a 12-round IBF Intercontinental fight, implying that IBF Intercontinental fights are inherently 12 rounds. And after hearing them parts from Frank, I thought, boom, he's got Team Whittaker / Ben Shalong in a bit of a bind. But then when I did some research, which is here, we're on BoxRec, leaked, ain't no one seen this before, you can actually search for the belt. So we've searched IBF Intercontinental, we'll go down to light heavy. And what we're going to check here, we're going to check the lineage of the title. How many rounds did them man fight for? If we see they all fought for 12 rounds, then oops. Inherently, if you fight for an IBF Intercontinental title, you're doing 12 rounds. Unfortunately, I was hoping I was going to click this link and it was going to show all 12 rounders. To the contrary, we see here, there's a mix. Yeah, the last one was 10 rounds, the one before that 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 12 rounds, the one before that 12 rounds. And if you look at other weight classes, it's really loose as a goose. That's light heavy, which is obviously specific to the fight between Whittaker and Cameron. But if you look at cruiserweight here, the last one was a 10 rounder and the one before that was a 12 rounder. So it doesn't really help us. Frank mentioning that the fights for an IBF Intercontinental, they can be for 10 or 12 rounds. It's not one of them higher belts which have to be 12. So that doesn't really do nothing for us, knowing that, unfortunately. That could have been a bash, but it was not.
Do you pull Cameron out?
Sorry?
If he doesn't get paid...
What? He'll get paid. I'm not pulling him out of fight. He's there to fight. He'll be there on the night for a 12-round fight. He'll be at the weigh-in to weigh him for a 12-round fight. We don't agree terms. It's as simple as that.
Have you ever known anything like this in boxing, Frank?
No, it's like Mickey Mouse. It's Mickey Mouse. That's what it is.
Okay, Frank, where are we now? It's live on TalkSport on Sunday, and we're at Tuesday. We'll speak again, Mr. Warren.
Don't know when, don't know where.
Okay, so Warren says they're going to fulfill the contract and be there to weigh in. No, it gets, again, I'm not. You weigh in. That's part of your obligation. I'm not sure when. Okay, it's 10 rounds. Does Cameron do the fight? I think that's probably where they're leaning to. Because Jim White says, is he going to get paid? And Frank Warren says, yeah, he's going to get paid. He's going to fight. So he'll fight and then take them to court for contractual breach. Which is, like I said earlier, that's probably what I'd do as well. Fight, win, lose or draw, you're going to get a payout. And sometimes them court payouts are obviously if you win, which I can't see how you wouldn't win. He's got a signed contract for 12. He's been cucked into doing 10, and there's been no recompense, which could have been made before the fact of the fight. Now, after the fight, you take it to court. What do you do? I assume Frank Warren's read the contract. Is there Ben Chalong's implying there's some sort of clause in there which says we can change the material details of the fight without notifying your client? If Cameron signed the document, I'm not sure, I'm not a lawyer, but if someone signs a contract like that, we haven't got the contracts in front of us. But if there was a clause that says we can change the material facts of the case, the facts of the fight, Ben Chalong might have a chance. No one's signing that though. Frank Warren's not signing, giving Ben Chalong the carte blanche to do what he wants. Right? What lawyer would sign that ever? There is some fugazi lawyers though, to be fair, so who knows. But Frank seems pretty much on top of it. End of the day, it wasn't his team sending out moody contracts. It was Ben Chalong's team. Ben Chalong seems to be the one who's lying. Oh, we've already signed for it. We've already signed for the compensation. He seems messy. I just hope the fight happens. I think it will do though. The thing with Sky is Sky and Ben Chalong's relationship, it's not been the best in recent times. They can't afford. It takes a lot of capital to put one of these shows on for the main event not to happen. Because the undercard, who's on the undercard? It's not. This is a traditional boxing card. No, half the people want a refund, and I think when the main event changes, you can get a refund. I would honestly, if I had tickets to Whittaker versus Cameron, and the main event changes to Whittaker versus a Stifler on 2 days' notice, I wouldn't go. Go for what? So. And who's going to watch it? I swear down, I won't even watch it. I won't watch it live. I'll watch the highlights. I won't watch Whittaker versus Stifler on 2 days. Don't bother. I'm not interested. Let's say it plays out. Let me know your thoughts. Smash the like button, subscribe, like for the bell, 100%. There's no doubt about this. Some people stop it. Bye.